Hello friends, and welcome to a video summing up the past 2.5 years of our lives, just in case you missed it. I think of this as kind of like a special features, like on a DVD. We are going to be rolling a reel of our experiences in Europe, but doing commentary. So a lot like a Cliff Notes version.
To kick off this trip down memory lane, we should probably give you a date. So we're going to start today's journey in September 2021. Looking back now, we realize it was actually the apex of the pandemic rather than the end as we thought. But regardless, our thoughts were, how tough can it be? It's only Europe.
Starting things off, this is the Port of Baltimore. We did roll-on, roll-off shipping, and you drive Denny in with an escort behind security and literally put the keys in there and walk away. And it was a big moment. It kind of caught up to me. I definitely got a little choked up in the moment, but that was what we worked for.
I think it was a big day for both of us. And our first COVID tests. We managed not to do these before that day.
That's not bad. Ooh, that's an emotional moment.
Yeah, well, we both had our days that day, moments that day.
And your mom also kind of said goodbye, but go on with your lives and don't come running back for everything. She said something kind of inspirational to you. And there's Lucci.
Her first transatlantic. She was so good.
Yeah, what a wonderful dog. So now we landed in Milano and got an Airbnb because we needed to quarantine, hence the pandemic. It worked. Then rented a rental van, which
didn't work.
It was, nothing on this thing worked. It was a colossal piece of shit van.
But it got us to Belgium.
Yes.
And then we had this big delay there.
Well, yeah. But the drive was beautiful up through the Alps, and that was my first time seeing the Alps.
Lucy doesn't like sitting in the back seat alone.
No, she's also got her little Italian sweater from Grandma.
It was a spectacular drive north. It was stunningly beautiful.
And at that point, we thought everything worked on the van. Oh, this was a son of a gun moment. So we reached the French border and met the officers. He said we need COVID tests. So we went and spent 3 hours getting the COVID test. And lots of money. Come right back to the same border. And if you could hear the words coming out of my mouth, there's some F-bombs because nobody was there.
Lesson: if they tell you something, just come back at dinner time if you don't want to do it.
Like, look, I'm just... What did this really just happen?
And yes, it did.
Oh, and then it gets better because we're entering the Mont Blanc Tunnel, and the Mont Blanc Tunnel does have a fee.
A toll.
But it was like €63 or something.
Yeah.
It was absurd. Yeah, for a tunnel.
It was a beautiful tunnel, though.
Yeah. And here's just still... Like,
I can't believe we just spent $63 and €50 a piece on tickets.
And 3 hours for COVID tests. But it was a hell of a tunnel.
And we're in France.
Yeah. Driving into the night, and this is where we discovered that camper van that we rented was... Broken. It had a battery that would not hold a charge. They left it so the water drained out. There's
the propane tanks were empty, so we couldn't turn the heater on. Yeah, propane tanks were empty.
That was a rough first night.
It made us really grateful for Denny.
This is the unique recycling situation in trash in Europe. You have like 4 or 5 different bins. How do you have 4 or 5 trash cans in a camper to separate it all?
Plus, it's all different languages every country you go to.
We could never do it right. Trucking up towards Belgium now. Did this because that van was such a piece of junk that we couldn't really stop and enjoy it. We needed to plug in somewhere. So, power social media. Intro Guido and Nancy at Campi Macca.
That was a fantastic place. And we got to know Nancy and Guido, and we've been back multiple times now to visit them.
So
this is when we figured out the propane tanks were empty.
Unfortunately, there was a little bit of gas in the back one.
Beautiful views,
Frosty.
Though. It was so cold.
Yep.
We got things working, though, and we had just a bit of a relax there.
Sewed up some of Lucy's toys.
She was waiting so not patiently. Why can't I play with these?
Beautiful
Mom?
Campground.
Wonderful
totally.
people.
And friends.
Yeah. We got to have an amazing dinner that Guido made, and their beautiful cabin on the river.
Now off to Brussels to return the rolling turd. And then our truck was delayed about a week. So we had to pivot and go and stay in this, it's like an apartment hotel. Hey, that was a good price.
It worked wonderfully, though. It was, and there's Denny.
Yeah, coming
First
out of the
view
port.
of Denny coming out of the port.
Gosh, what a moment.
That was, I get choked up right now just thinking about, like, we thought, oh my gosh, we actually pulled this off.
I know. This is a very universal symbol coming up here. The thumbs up.
Thumbs up. We get that a lot.
I jumped in, drove over to Beck, and we pulled it off. I can't believe we actually did that.
I still can't believe we did it, and it's years later, and we've been over there for years.
Lucy was happy back in her truck, so we needed to get settled. You have to kind of deconstruct your truck in a manner when you're getting shipping.
Ooh, that was the first short tunnel. I got out to make sure we could make it.
Yep.
And then we're back at Camping Macca.
Yeah, so
we stayed there for a few days to get resettled.
Yep. And that was just wonderful. It's become a nice little home and friend place.
Yeah.
But we are on the road in Europe, and it just got very surreal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is our life.
That morning driving out of there, it was all foggy. This was my moment when I was like, oh my God, we're here. If you could hear the native audio, it was like, I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're driving Denny through a European village.
It was, yeah. Oh, this was the place we parked that night, and it was like below a school by a field.
Yeah.
But we woke up in the morning surrounded by all these vehicles. And
you had to put a lot of trust in me.
Oh, yeah.
Look how close we're getting to the
2 inches off the bumper. To me, it looked like we were going to run over it. But Lucy was happy when Mama came back into the vehicle. She
and it's
loves
Mr. Hippie.
Yeah.
Look at my toy, Mom. Do you remember my toy?
She is so happy when you come back into the vehicle, especially that day.
Yeah.
You're going to have to put up with a lot of Lucy cutenesses.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a chateau heading towards Germany. And
yes,
the first of World War II
first
monuments.
of many pieces of evidence we saw, but it was powerful for both of us, I think.
Yep. Oh, that's a happy dog. A German village. Now here I discovered Germans like big trucks at a young age, because that little boy was staring so hard. So that's why there's so many German overlanders.
And this was our last peaceful moment that day.
Yeah.
We went for a wonderful walk through these fields, and the sun was setting.
Golden hour.
Lucy was happy.
Life is good,
horses.
isn't it?
We did it. We're here. We made it.
But then Big Brother and the pandemic hits, and we got these texts on our phone that they just changed Belgium to
red.
And
we had to
quarantine if we stayed in Germany. We're like, no, we are out. So we did a run out of Germany in the middle of the night,
France,
and landed in this air. So camping airs are most of them are free in some of these Western countries, but you have a little service point. You can park, you can walk into the village. I love the setup.
Basically, it's a free place to stay where you can go in and utilize the resources of the village. They make money from it.
Then we moved over to a campsite on the Rhine. This was interesting because we could not tell at that time, because it was the most unusual looking launch ramp I had ever seen.
That it was
we were
really
parked
a
on a launch ramp.
We didn't know that until you flew the drone.
Lucy loved it there. Oh, there's some French dog poo-poo, because the French don't pick up their poo-poo.
And we spent Thanksgiving here, so we
had chicken.
Omnia chicken for Thanksgiving, and watched movies.
Oh, Strasbourg.
Whew. And still getting used to those short bridges.
And we're also getting used to the graffiti, because, on the whole Rick Steve stuff, you just don't see the ugly side of it. And it just rubbed us the wrong way. Even though that campground was kind of nice, Strasbourg, it was just our...
Well, now we know it doesn't mean it's not safe.
Yep, a miniature version of Lady Liberty. We had to have some fun there. Ooh.
Oh, I loved this place. We camped between a vineyard and a cemetery to go to our first and what ended up being our only Christmas market that year, but near Kaisersberg, France.
It's about a 1 mile walk to the
through the
village.
vineyards.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And it
Christmas
was
market.
everything you could have imagined, the way they decorated and the food and the drinks and the market to walk through. I loved it.
We were still treated like pariahs.
Yeah,
because it was the pandemic. So we had to get tested to go behind a certain point. Yeah. It was ridiculous. Like Europe is complete police state compared to the freedoms in our country. You have to scan the QR code.
Pass sanitaire, they called it. You had to have that to go in everywhere. It was intense.
It made the trip rough. But you got to see these vendors.
Yeah. And I had always wanted to go experience a Christmas market or multiple ones in Europe, and I look forward to doing it again.
Ooh, we got to eat inside a building for the first time. Remember the pandemic?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was such a treat. And we took dessert home.
That's probably some of the best desserts we have ever had. So that's the village that we camped by. Yeah. And Omicron entered the world's vocabulary. Our solution was to drive to Croatia, which is where we heard life was more like normal. So this is the Switzerland border, and we just kind of cruised through. And the first country that we actually blew through and didn't do anything.
Now the Italian border.
Literally on the run.
We were, but we felt like this was the way to go.
Cool old vintage cars.
And gorgeous sunset.
Gotta love that. I can't remember which border this was, but you got to like check out of Schengen and then check into Croatia, just the way it goes. Lands us late night in a less than desirable parking lot.
But it wasn't the last time we stayed there.
No. Yeah, and it wasn't the worst place we've stayed so far. But the Dalmatian coast
made up for it.
Totally beautiful.
It really did live up to every expectation we had.
And we started to get our groove. Like, hey, this is nice. We're wild camping, dirt under the tires, on the water. We're figuring this out.
Lucy well, you know what? Go for some walks here.
Yeah, and then real life kicks in. I threw my back out. So we had to go to Zadar, and this is Vito, a homestay, because there was a swimming pool, and that's the best medicine.
Nearby, yeah. It was a few minutes walk. This is where I think I earned mad props from Vito. He didn't think I could park that thing as a girl driver where he wanted me to go, but he's like, wow.
Vito's great.
He was a savior.
Oh, you can see that my back is like a question mark. We really should have taken an Uber that day instead of me walking the quarter mile.
You were convinced the walk would help.
Yeah, it did not.
You weren't quite there yet.
But the pool helps. Totally wonderful.
It was.
That's the city, old town of Zadar. Walking distance from Vito's as well.
We actually had a lot of really good times in that town.
We had our favorite restaurant. This thing was like a Tony Soprano's friend's restaurant. Zvona was his name, but it's the most indescript building.
Yeah.
And the nicest guy, welcoming, super friendly, and the food, spectacular. But we're Americans, so we got there really early at like 7:30 before it was going. But this is called Pekka. And it's kind of like a Dutch oven effect of sorts. But it was so unique to us.
And luckily we stayed long enough visiting with Zvona that night that we managed to get a little taste of everything out of Pekka. Did.
That meat tasted so good. Lucy liked walking our life there. She got her EU pet passport.
That was a big step for Lucci.
Yep. The dog park was within walking distance.
She had so much fun.
For places to stop, it was a good one.
It was. And it was cold, but it was very tolerable. We could get out and enjoy ourselves. And
my back did heal up.
Yep.
Back to its normal 90% of good.
Welcomed 2022 in.
Yeah. Croatians, they love their neighborhood fireworks shows.
It went on forever, too.
It was something. I had never seen that many residential fireworks. Now, this part I really didn't talk about too much in the video, but we went and got some fish, brought it home, told Vito, and Vito's like, what? You paid way too much. And I kind of thought we paid way too much. Yeah. Here's like where he got this, like, you wait here. To me, this is like Liam Neeson. I got a special set of skills, Vito. And I was so nervous. He said, wait here. This lady bust me out the camera, and we're in a former communist country, and this lady's trying to like report me. I'm getting so nervous. Vito's over there talking to the guy and got like half our money back. It was intense.
This was when Molly Mish arrived, and we got to do a movie night outside.
Yep, love those guys. It's always
one of the best parts of traveling is when you run into people, friends.
And now, goodbye, Vito.
Yes. And a spectacular drive out of Croatia.
It was beautiful.
It was stunning.
We need to explore the country further, just like all of them. Tons of little ferries.
Yeah, one of our first ferries with Denny in Europe.
Yep. That was a steep mountain. You were definitely puckered on that one.
That was where I needed the latex handprint on the window.
So we're going to Plitvice National Park. So found a little dirt lot off of Park for Night.
We still had snow when we got there.
More walking. You walk so much in Europe.
Yep. But it was, we were able to walk from where we parked down to actually see from a distance the lakes and the waterfalls.
It was spectacular.
It was.
Beautiful.
I'd really like to go back there when it's warmer and take advantage of all of the hiking that they have available there.
So we ventured on down the road and stumbled upon Zelvaja Air Base. And this is a McDonnell Douglas C-47. And I know they sold these things around the world, but it was just there in ruins with stickers and graffiti. A totally unusual experience.
This was where Lucy also almost gave me a bloody nose. She was so agitated by something.
So that is the aerodrome where Lucy got agitated, but it looks a lot like something out of Star Wars.
I think it was Star Wars.
So now we're on to a former communist hotel that's almost like a tourist attraction. It's so disgusting. Venturing in
alone up the stairs.
I got Lucy on my back. Beck could not make it up the stairs.
I have a terrible fear of heights. I just couldn't do it with no railing on the side.
And I'm fine for most things.
But even you.
I approached this staircase here and it was like, that is very narrow. Like, okay, I'm going for, no, I'm not. Okay. Pondering life decisions moment. What do I do? Yell for my wife. She says, don't kill my dog on your way down.
That was the most important thing to me.
Yeah, so I ended up having to go down on all fours.
A very humbling moment in our travels.
Whew.
And I will tell you that it took me about 10 minutes to get off of that landing that you're on right now.
Well, 10 minutes?
When you left me alone down there.
You made it up the first. Well, it took me 10 seconds to make it down that, but I hit my threshold at that next flight of stairs. But it was another unique experience that you have in Europe that you don't necessarily have everywhere.
They would never let you walk around in there in the States. It'd be condemned and
it'd be an insurance hazard.
Off. Oh, this is one of the best places we
Truffle
went.
Farm.
Yes, on the Istrian Peninsula.
Of Croatia still.
Yes, on our way back. But it looked a lot like Tuscany.
Yeah. Oh, Lucy loved playing with their puppy. Yeah. They invited us over for scrambled eggs, Parmesan cheese, and black truffle. It was spectacular.
Oh, I still can taste it in my mouth. That was such a good meal.
Hume, the world's tiniest village. Croatia still.
That was a great place to walk around and explore. And Lucy met somebody that really loved her here.
The lady in the gift shop was so nice.
And Lucy loved her back.
Yeah. All right, now we are going out of Croatia into Slovenia, which is Schengen, and add Slovenia to a list of countries that we literally have driven through twice.
Yeah.
But it's a small country in our defense.
Like, we really wanted to go up to Lake Bled, just too cold.
No. Italy. And
driving through Italy again.
I love this clip of Lucy. She's like, just got her toy.
She loves that little dog.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've got to watch the road.
But
this is my life. We also had a water leak issue, which meant we needed some help. And this was a friend of the family, Mauro, but he helped us so we could order a new mattress. I got the water leak fixed over time, but it was nice. It's kind of like family.
They really did treat us like family.
Yeah, it warms our hearts.
Yeah.
Back on the road, because Mauro insisted we beat the traffic of the following day. He's like, you want to get out of here. Road construction is going to be horrible. So we pushed
ended
into
up
France.
at Marie Claire's olive farm, and we stayed here for a bit. She had her own pressed olive oil from her trees. It is still one of the best olive oils we've ever had. It was such a restful week.
In the country. So these are farm stays on the app park for night. Some are free, some you pay $5 or $10. But Europe has ruined us for a lot of things. Good bread and good olive oil are right at the top. And then Spain, they have some unique artistic stuff. I wasn't quite sure what the art theme was there. It was interesting. That night we head into this village. The roads just kept getting tighter and tighter. We sat in traffic because of an accident. This dude jumps in to help us through the village. Like, oh God, this is so weird, but he's the nicest guy.
He was so cool.
And there's the camping air. Like I said, the free places to camp. In return, you go into the village.
Yep. And I cannot stress how much we enjoyed this aspect of camping car life in Europe. We utilize this resource tremendously.
Patatas bravas, sangria.
We are in Spain.
Yes.
So tapas in the evenings is so much fun. You just hop from restaurant to restaurant.
So this is the service station at the Air. And you can dump your toilet. As you can see, the American style of RV dump stations do not exist. You have to have some type of a separating or cassette. This was our next camp, and we stumbled upon some federal police that said, oh yeah, you guys can park there. It was beautiful.
And we got to see flamingos in the wild for the first time. Like, I didn't even know flamingos were on the European continent prior to staying here.
But yet it makes sense.
Totally does. They're right there.
Yep. Oh, Lucy loves going for walks
and finding sticks everywhere.
Yeah.
She can make so much fun out of nothing.
And I got the zoom lens out to try to reach out and see the flamingos.
That was a nice day.
Yeah, it was a very nice little camp. And then we went to, your birthday was coming up. We needed some time to kill because we got an Airbnb. And lo and behold, a dust storm from the Sahara comes in and makes a mess. It was a horrific day, but they delivered wine and bread to the campsite.
So
we survived.
It balanced it out.
And then we go to the Airbnb and another dust storm comes.
Which meant we got to enjoy the jacuzzi, but not the swimming pool there.
Yes. And it meant another trip to the car wash. I never thought Saharan dust storms.
I've never seen anything like that in my life.
Yep.
It was crazy.
And here we get to Gibraltar and meet up with some of our really good friends, Fabian, Isabella, Mateo, Bosco, and Uni.
We had such a good time with
them. That was our camp. We were way up there.
We were. We went up and did Gibraltar Rock, got to see the monkeys and all the views.
Ooh, this was our next camp. We had some mail delivering issues. Totally another video, but this is what they called wild camping. And yes, you're on dirt, but it's not necessarily like wild camping like I imagined, but it was awesome. Then we went back to the coast and met up with Fabian and Isabella after our package failed, and we just said, F it.
Well, we really had no choice.
Then Sevilla, this was a nice little campground on a marina. I'm going to restart the engine, so pardon that noise.
If we had had Starlink so that we had better internet at that place, that would have been fabulous. And this is the Cantabria Mountains, right before we shipped to England.
Yeah. Lucy liked that campsite.
It was wonderful. It was the grass pitch. Fantastic.
No shortage of ferry experiences in Europe. You bounce all over that continent by ferry.
It's a very manageable, economical, actually, way when you figure out gas prices.
Yep. Dog-friendly staterooms.
I got a little seasick on this trip.
Adios, España.
Yep.
Hello, Her Majesty's shores.
Boy, that made that trip look really short.
Dun, 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 dun. Driving on the wrong side of the road for the first time.
You didn't show where you almost pulled out in front of a
bus. I did not.
Bus.
You just panicked.
Ha! Nearly killed us.
Roundabouts and the wrong side of the road.
It took some getting used
Pulled
to.
into a campground for the night.
In Cornwall.
The Brits do not have level campgrounds, just for the record.
It's that simple.
Yeah. Driving down those narrow Cornwall roads. Those walls there's rocks underneath those,
Yeah.
just for the record.
It's not just greenery.
Hedges.
And our first castle
Yeah.
in England.
And getting used to... let's bring that arm in so we don't lose it. A warranted reaction, though. A little foreshadowing there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Pub stays. So, concept simple. You have a drink or a meal inside the pub.
They let you park
They
in the
let you
back.
park for the night.
We had so many great pub stays.
Yeah, and just, people always make jokes about British food.
It's really good comfort food.
Is really good. Yeah, comfort food. And we just
I wish we
saw
could have
this.
eaten there. That was
It was a
actually
restaurant, and we
in
just
a
drove
castle.
up to it.
It was an accident.
Lucy, she did something amazing here. This is a Mary Maiden Stone Circle. We let her off leash because there's a big field, and there's this path around the stones, and she did this.
We were sure she was going to open like a time vortex or something.
But she just kept following the trail, and it was like, wow, Lucy.
She loved running in the grass fields multiple times in
Yeah.
England. That's something that
This
they have
hurt.
plenty of.
Oh, biffed it. Oh, goodness.
Ouchie,
What was
girly.
that? Okay.
And get up and run again.
She's fine. This is another pub stay where I had my first English breakfast, which I
wish
am not
you
a
I've
fan.
gotten a better one.
Hash brown, a cooked tomato. I call that ham. They call it bacon. That pinwheel sausage, best thing on that plate. The scrambled eggs were not done in my fashion. Toast is toast. The piece de resistance is beans. We're not talking baked beans. These are just flavorless beans for breakfast.
Comes from the time
Yeah.
of rationing in World War II.
And off to an overlanding festival at
This was a great
Stratford
time.
upon Avon.
We actually met up with a lot of people who followed our channel, and we didn't realize
Yeah.
that we had so many folks from Britain.
Yep.
It was fun.
Lots of expedition vehicles there.
Kind of one of the first times we got to interact with people after the
this
pandemic
is.
let up.
All right. Then we headed off to Diddley Squat, if you're a fan of Top Gear. Wonderful experience there.
We got to have a meal and buy some things out of their farm store. Lucy played with the lambs.
What is this thing? She did so well.
She loves animals.
Vicky's farm stay.
And the
10
horse
euro a
paddock.
night. That
Another
was
place.
gorgeous.
It was. And Lucy had so much fun running. She really needs a place where she can get lots of exercise.
Troy and Cynthia hooked us up
yeah.
a month later with a mailing address that worked.
Yep. And
Now the Radfords.
oh, yeah. We had such a good time staying with them and visiting.
Yeah.
I really do adore
I look
them.
forward to seeing them many times in the future.
Yep. Lifetime friends.
Well, what can you say? You camp in a field next to Stonehenge.
That's how my book is going to start. I have camped in the fields of Stonehenge.
You know,
That's
I
how
was
it's going
able
to open.
to sit on the toilet and take a poop while looking out the door at the rocks of Stonehenge.
And that's how your book is going to start.
Taking a poop in Stonehenge.
And then
Then
we had a hiccup.
biodiesel and our wall of stove is what.
But at that
Yeah.
moment, we didn't know that was the issue. We thought our stove was going.
Yep. Kaput. Oh, those roads are narrow.
Lucy still ducks.
So we found a service center, another pub stay.
Yep.
It
That
worked.
place looked like a little fairy garden.
It was nice.
We really
And,
enjoyed the cider in Britain and Ireland.
The people at the Wallace Center were awesome. They gave us tips on how to service it, and I bought a spare glow plug just to keep on board. Put it back in, and we were rolling again. Oh, tell me there's not caution.
We made it.
3.6 meters, is that what it said?
Yes.
Because we're 3.38. That is tight. Oh.
But we made it.
Peak District, I believe.
This was one of the few places we didn't have cell phone service in Europe.
And, no, that was Wales.
Oh,
This is the Peak District. This is the night we're looking for a place to go exist for 3 or 4 nights.
Oh, yeah, this was a
Then
challenge.
everything that we could find was like 5 degrees off level, so we ended up parking next to that steaming pile of shit.
But these people were to the
Yes.
rescue a couple days later.
Crossland adventure vehicles, Ian and Tina, and yeah, wonderful people took us in. We did a tour of their expedition vehicle that shared a meal. Here's no cell phone service.
This is the no cell phone service place next to the river. Again,
In
if
Wales.
we'd had Starlink, we would have stayed because this place rocked it. We took some really nice walks. Enjoyed a campfire that night.
Yep.
Oh, it was great. But we were off again, heading towards the port because we were on our way to Ireland.
Yep. Lucy just takes it all in. She really does love that view.
She loves traveling. It's so funny that she's just like us.
All right. And hello, Ireland. This was kind of shocking because we thought there'd be passport control, but there was none.
Nope. Nothing.
So after getting SIM cards, we pull into this little harbor. We were all about the harbors in Ireland too.
Yeah.
And the fishermen actually like it because the presence of campers helps keep thieves away from their boats.
A crazy little leprechaun village place.
The leprechaun whisperer. Charming guy.
It was cute, especially because we did the tour with some little kids and they thought it was just the cat's
magical.
Meow.
It was cute. Now, Northern Ireland.
Oh, this is where we had Indian food delivered.
Yep. So this is an Irish Air little service point, a little town along the river. Instead of walking that night, Beck said, we ordered Indian food. And for the record, Indian food in England it's
so good.
Ireland, but it's good. Ooh, McGoogle, steering us down a wrong road. Oh, story of our life.
We're used
but
to
this
it.
one was worth it. That castle,
when we
abandoned,
finally got there,
that was epic.
It was.
So this is Northern Ireland,
Yes.
new country.
Yes.
But there is no borders, just back and forth along these country
in and out,
roads.
back and forth on the road.
Met a local. She said, "Oh, you can go camp at this little dock in Boat Harbor."
It was so hot too.
Yeah.
And we went swimming in that lake.
It was great. The bathrooms even had a shower.
Wish we'd known that before we bathed in the lake.
No joke.
We didn't check before we bathed in the
how
lake.
often is there a free shower? But now these lakes, you can rent a boat or own a boat and just cruise for a long time. That would be a future adventure.
So
Another castle.
This
Can't
is one of my
necessarily
favorite castles.
remember the name of it, but they are everywhere. Then we stayed at another boat harbor.
We actually drug water all the way from
the
dock up to our truck. A hose.
We needed water in a bad
really
way.
Bad.
Getting to the coast, you can see the tide lines. And another boat harbor.
Yep.
It
a little
worked.
less glamorous this one was, but it did the job. And we could smell the ocean.
Yeah. And this was another first, camping at an abbey and cemetery.
Yeah, it started out a little rough because we parked below the water line.
Yeah, there's green grass. The high tide can't come up to the manicured grass. Yes, it can. You'd think the salt water would kill them.
Oh, and this was one of the most beautiful places. Their national park forest. Yep. Oh, and then this place looks like a golf course, but it was just beachside camping.
I'm still not convinced that it wasn't a golf course. This is one of my favorite clips. The livestock, the beach, the camp in the distance.
The sun.
Yeah.
And then we did our seaweed bath, which had been on my bucket list for so long. I'm trying to relax, and Ben's over there rocking his head.
Then back to that camp.
We took Lucy down to the water there.
And that road is just so green.
The
Ireland
Wild
is
Atlantic
green.
Way, the top half that we got to do, was one of my favorite bits.
We did have a hard time finding trash disposal in Ireland, so we ended up having to use these things.
I think
at
it's
a Circle K of all places.
Island. They have to take the trash off.
I don't know, but some
every
places,
Circle K had one of those.
But like Greece, you could find a trash can everywhere.
Yeah.
Another beach camp, and this was a tidal area, and we got Lucy really comfortable in the water.
It was warm water.
Loved it. It was so adorable.
It would start out really shallow, and then so she could walk in it, and then so she'd swim in it. Yep. It got deeper.
And we're starting to make our way out of Ireland. Stop by
Hook Lighthouse, one of the oldest in the world.
A nighttime ferry over to Wales, which is part of the UK.
This is the night we tried doing it without a room, and it actually worked.
It was only like a 3-hour passage.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. And then Her Majesty's Shores found a parking lot, and it did the job.
It did. It worked. And back,
the countryside of England was gorgeous.
I think it always is. It's always so green and lush there.
Co-pilot is hard at work. These roundabouts, some roundabouts have traffic lights, some have 4 or 5 lanes.
You really have to learn how to utilize them. There's a whole system to it.
Oh, France. First time we were there, broke the law. We didn't have these blind spot Anglais Mort stickers. And apparently the French believe that this sticker will prevent somebody from getting ran over in a blind spot. I don't know how you can see a sticker versus a big truck better. Who knows?
This was a really cool experience, though. Taking the channel under the English Channel, way below the waterline. It was so cool.
Yeah, totally unique experience. That's what Europe all was.
It was
unique.
And the way they handled immigration, you did it all on the English side, even for France. So when you got off, you just drove into France. That was it. You were there. You were done.
And I'm saying stay right, stay right, stay right.
Because the whole time we'd been in Ireland and Britain, it was stay left, stay left, stay left.
A French air.
Mm-hmm.
England did not necessarily have those.
No. England had expensive places to stay.
Oh,
but
this is our first time being in France and actually being treated like humans because the pandemic was kind of over.
Ending.
Oh, wonderful meal.
One of the best meals of our life.
Wow.
I don't know if it was just, it was a culmination of everything. It was fantastic.
Oh, 12 months had passed and we just had to go home. It was needed a break. So we put Denny in a storage locker building.
With Michelle.
Yep. They are the nicest people and have stored Denny for us several times now.
Yep, he's there now.
Yep. So the gist of it is we flew back home to the States so we could do some knee surgery for me, rest up and reset and regroup.
Rented a little place in Mexico.
This was a wonderful hell. I say wonderful because the beach was great. I loved fishing there and everything was great, but the accommodations between the mold, the noise, the filth, that
didn't work.
Meant it was a wonderful hell. And then
this one was better.
Yeah.
We found a little condo and basically it was like a resort because you could walk to restaurants on the beach. Not so much fishing.
There was a gym, so I got to rehab my knee.
And a pool.
And that's when we bought Denise the 4Runner and made a trip out to Kansas to visit Beck's dad. Had our time and flew back to Europe.
Yep. Here we go again.
Pulling Denny out. He was all tucked in for a good period of time.
And I was so worried, but literally the only thing that was wrong was the parking brake was stuck.
Yeah,
it was
it
otherwise completely intact.
Rusted. Rented an Airbnb because we brought parts back. I installed a DC to DC charger and a European 230 volt to 12 volt charger. And we never in our travels had this problem because we'd followed good weather enough that the panels and battery bank did their job, but we needed extra help at those latitudes.
It was really nice to be able to plug in Europe after that without the transformer box.
Then back to Guido and Nancy's camping Mac. I had to say hi.
This time when the weather was better and it was beautiful green.
Yep.
We sat out on their porch and had dinner one night at their restaurant. Got to visit
and the campground was open this time. Because we were there in like November and it was closed.
Yep.
But they let us stay because we needed a place. Oh, Lucy
and they
loves
love
Guido.
The they have 2 of their own now.
Yep. Off to Amsterdam and that Starlink antenna.
Boy, that was a game changer for us.
Totally a game changer.
Totally worth it. Amsterdam was amazing. We had a lot of fun there.
You can see I have the 230 volt cord and the Starlink cord hanging out the window until I figured out that, hey, I like this.
Exactly.
Now, let's head into Amsterdam. Lucy is totally comfortable in her bag. She loves it. It's a beautiful city.
The city of canals.
It
was
easy.
And they were so dog friendly. Lucy even got to go on our boat ride.
Ooh, raw herring. I thought it would taste different. I've used it as fish bait in Alaska.
I was shocked at how good it was.
Now, this is in Germany, a little village called Wetzlar, I believe.
Yep.
And it's an air, but they actually charge. It was like 10 or 12 euro a night. But you walk into the village. There's peaked in high school Spider-Man with a fanny sack and a gut.
That was nuts.
It was a cute little village. That glow plug that was replaced in England, it started to act up again. And this is when we became suspect of biodiesel. There was an updated glow plug. It was not out yet. I installed the spare one, and we have been limping it along since, despite having the spare one. This is where you can plug in and you pay for power.
And they tell you how many kilowatt hours you get.
There's Wayne and Elizabeth. Met up with them to say hi at a campground in Germany.
Back to Fabian and Isabella and Matteo.
At their home in Germany.
It was so cool to get to visit them at their house and
it's like family.
hang out. It was.
And
so
we
nice.
get lonely there.
Yeah, you do.
It is very, very lonely.
We have a lot more friends in the States, and we're still building up our repertoire of friends there. So we really relish those moments when we meet up with fellow friends.
Onward to Czech Republic.
I loved Prague. It was so...
Yeah, nice little campground on the river. Walking distance. Ooh, that's the awning that I almost hit with the camper trying to back up and get around. But fortunately, I didn't hit it.
Nope.
Walking public transportation into this
city square, which I have to say was one of the most beautiful squares in Europe I have ever seen.
Astronomical clock.
That was fun to watch the show it puts off. You have to stand and wait. You can't see. There's like a gazillion people with us.
But just more walking and off to a beer bath or the beer spa.
The beer spa. That was
fun. So you can eat nuts while you're soaking your nuts in beer.
That's one way to look at it.
Yep. And weather's still getting chilly.
Yes, it is. We're always running from the weather in the fall there. It starts to get really cold.
The latitudes of Europe are a lot higher. It's more or less like Canada latitudes. This was, we went to go visit Auschwitz. This was a little camp that we stayed at within walking distance.
It was a tough visit.
Yeah, just enough said. Auschwitz is a horrible place.
You really feel it when you're there.
People should visit it because you can't necessarily comprehend, oh, like, hey, there's a giant room full of shoes off of people that were more or less exterminated. Oh, wait, no, there's more. There's a whole other one. And there's probably more that we're not even, despite the superior record keeping of the Germans, that
we don't even
those are probably not all the shoes of the 1.1 million people that were killed there. But I am changed after visiting there, and I'm good. I don't need to go back.
No. But you should visit it once, as sad as it was to see.
The trash, hanging out of the trasharoo so we could dump the trash on our way out.
That trasharoo works great.
Family time in Poland.
Visiting your cousin.
Yep. Now your 50th.
Well, this is a big moment.
Yep.
Number 50.
Slovakia, and another country that we drove through and did not do anything because we were heading to Hungary to visit another friend.
Yes. So a friend that I studied abroad with in college lives nearby there and met us for the weekend.
Camera shy, so just did that cheers.
Yes, but we had a wonderful weekend there. And then on to Hot Springs.
Yeah, Hot Springs resort type of place, campground.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was one of the nicest
That's where we saw that
campsites.
double rainbow while we were in the water. That was so cool.
And then on to Romania. We had visions of grander things in Romania, but the weather was late, and we ended up just staying at this kind of digital nomad co-living house in the driveway.
We had some friends.
Yeah, I liked it.
I did
Johnny
too.
and Bianca were very nice and welcoming.
We'll go back and do the things we wanted.
Bulgaria.
Mm-hmm. New country for all three of us. We visited your friend from school.
Yeah. A friend from 3rd through 6th grade reached out a few years back. Awesome.
He lives in Bulgaria.
And you were starting to blow through countries because this is Greece.
We stayed in an IKEA parking lot for the first time.
We really do feel like we're on the run a lot there. But we landed at a place outside Greece called Rolling Turtles.
Outside Athens.
Outside Athens, yes. And stayed there for a while. But then it was time to head back, but the heading back had a couple reasons. We were out of Schengen time and more or less at the end of the road because we certainly weren't going to catch a ferry over to Israel at that point in history. But Lucy was at risk of leishmaniasis in this area, and it's a blood parasite that is incurable and could be deadly. So we're like, hey, the writing's on the wall. Let's just go home and get her vaccinated when we come back because it was a whole process.
Yeah, there was waiting.
A lot more to explain, but
go watch the videos.
Yeah, but look at her; she just travels so well.
And then we're back in Kansas, where my dad stored our 4Runner. We went and picked it up and stayed there for a bit. Enjoyed some time home with family.
Then back to Greece,
Mm-hmm.
and we're on the move again, traveling, heading up the western coast to catch a ferry over to I'm going to call it the back heel of Italy.
Yep.
That was
another ferry.
Yeah, it was a unique experience because there's a big immigration refugee problem. So they search your vehicle, and kind of like Mexico in a way.
For people,
For
not
people.
for things.
They're not looking for guns or drugs.
Yeah.
The ferries have pet relief areas.
This one was a little interesting.
Yeah.
It worked, though.
It did. She did her business, at least number one in there. And it was only an 8-hour ferry.
Yeah.
I love how she just walks in her bag.
Okay, I go with you,
The pet-friendly staterooms are great.
They are. And this is our first
Buongiorno, Italia.
Italia.
And we just decided we're going to drive across to the western
Well, that was
side
where all
of
of the
Italy.
things were in the south that we wanted to see.
Landed at a little campground trailer park on the Amalfi Coast. Becca got to see
Positano.
Yep.
High on my list of places to visit.
But I would call that a trailer park.
It was, yeah. But it worked.
It did. We are not picky when it comes to that. It was safe.
That coastline
And I would
was
like to say a lot about safety holding value.
And then we went into Naples.
Yep. And did not do much there. Now we're up in Rome and Vatican City
to our list.
Had some of the best pasta I've ever had in my life at one of Anthony Bourdain's favorite restaurants. Rome pasta, nailed it. There's a fountain.
Trevi Fountain. There's a few of them there.
Yeah.
That's why he says that.
Driving through Tuscany, heading up towards Venice. And
Lucy was really excited to go to Venice.
Past Venice 2 times already on this trip and not gone. So we finally got Rebecca to Venice. And was it everything that you expected it to be?
1,000%. It was a city that lived up to every expectation I had. And I actually got teary-eyed on the boat back to come back the last day. I really didn't want to leave.
So then we headed into France. It's springtime, and Provence, southern France area, is gorgeous.
Fantastic.
We're staying at these airs, walking into the villages. It was spectacular.
Yeah.
I have a special place in my heart for France, partly because it's free. It's relatively a lot of free camping, makes it affordable. The food is great.
The people are wonderful.
Yeah.
And it has a variety of climes, so you can get to warmer weather in the winter and cooler weather in the summer. And
then if you time it right, you can see those lavender
which we haven't done yet still.
Yep.
This was a cool town. We went to the wrong town.
But it was a good town. We thought it was somewhere else. That's a paying air, though.
That one was a challenge. You had to buy a card first.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing.
But once we have the card, it's easy.
And this was the place where we had the best pizza. I had honey and goat cheese pizza in this town. Wow, yeah. Stellar.
Lucy loves those chew sticks. There's me looking for navigation. Okay, how do I work this?
How do I get out of here?
No, it didn't open. What do I do now? Oh, it opened. All right, Ben, you can
drive fast. So
we have no idea what we're doing, but this is just what we did. Walled City, Avignon.
We had been there before, way back when we were first married.
We just needed some groceries and a place to rest where we did not have to move every 3 days, because the airs, you have to move every 1 to 3 days. That's the caveat. But now, just chilling in the campsite.
Yep, we really enjoyed this spot.
Coffee and pastries in the afternoon.
We kind of took on that French tradition, and we kind of like it.
Yeah, so this is another similar. This is a little bit more of a campground, but it's next to a chateau.
Chateau Chenonceau, which I'd always wanted to see. The Loire Valley, you could spend weeks visiting all of the chateaus there, but it was stunning. And this one was special because it's right on the river.
It was a very unique building.
Mostly owned by women, if you remember. We had a lot of fun.
A lot of different vibes.
Definitely.
Yep. And extravagant.
Oh my goodness. You really got a feel for the excess. Yep. Now I would like an apothecary like this one day. Someday.
And back into storage for Denny and our top secret Normandy bunker.
And that kind of brings us back to where we are now, right?
Kind of, yeah. The
This was
story
the last
has
time we
moved
dropped
quit.
it off.
And back on
American
soil. Rented a car
Oh, this
from,
is like, oh, this
was
is
that
getting old.
Chicago?
Chicago, back to Stafford to pick up the truck.
Yep. And I think that is where our 2.5 years of life ends. Well, that's a wrap for this trip down memory lane. And I have to share where we were recording this because we are currently in Grants Pass, Oregon. The hotel room we were staying at was way too noisy with the air conditioner clicking on, people upstairs. Lucy could bark at any random moment if a little noise frightened her, a diesel engine starting. So it took a while. Yes, so we're in Denise the Forerunner. We got the microphone set here in this kind of industrial lot. We tried going to the parks, but there are some, I'll just leave it at, there were distractions that were unpleasant, and Lucy would have lost it looking at all the people living in the park. Yeah. We'll just call it that. Yeah. So there's a dose of reality for you. I enjoyed this trip down memory lane.
Time. We hope you did.
Yep.
And if there are things that caught your attention, then go back. We have entire videos on everything you saw. This was just a recap.
Yep. And now we are looking forward in a direction of our lives to exploring good old America.
Yeah.
We're hitting the road in Denise the Forerunner. I think there's some good adventures ahead this summer.
Yeah, we're going to have a great time here.
And then we're taking it one season at a time. So who knows what's after that, but we will see you on the road.
Bye.